Welcome to Buckets, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I have bronchitis, so we're going to try and get through this episode with me trying to talk as little as possible. To help me out with that, we got Jim Turvey. He's at TurveyBets on Twitter and in the Action Network app, which is the best place for you to track your picks. You get up-to-the-second information on where the bets and money are coming in on. Make sure to check out all the great stuff that we've got in there for the continuing NCAA tournament to the Elite Eight going forward, as well as getting you set for the NBA and NHL playoffs. Playoff picture is officially live and active. I'm doing the update after we get off here, so lots to get into. Find it in the Action Network app. Jim, I'm decided I'm going to start doing a different random question to ask our guests, because I think like "How you doing?" is weird because it's just a weird context. So I'll ask you this: who is your favorite player in NBA history to watch shoot a jumper?
Oh man, great question. This is going to be a super homer pick, and I don't even know if I gave this a ton of thought if I would continue with it, but the person who jumped into my mind was Latrell Sprewell. I think
Nice.
that's slightly biased by my age and fandom, but I did love to watch Spree get up a three, so I'll go with Sprewell.
I love it. I
Who's
love it.
yours?
That's great. Oh boy, mine's probably Ray Allen. The precision, just absolutely loved
Yeah.
Ray's ability to how seriously he took keeping his form perfect every single time. All right, this is your best bets episode for Friday. My thanks to Brandon Anderson for filling in with a Futures Friday episode you can check out with our good buddy Joe Delera. Thanks to Brandon for filling in there. Jim, give me your best bets for the Friday slate.
Absolutely. I've got Wizards -7 on the spread. In that same game, I'm going to target an over in the first quarter. And then one other game for you, I got Oklahoma City +5.5 on the spread as well.
Bold take here with OKC as they are currently playing the Los Angeles Clippers, and I believe they are still down as we are recording this. They're down 1 in the second half right now as we're recording this second quarter. All right, for mine tonight, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Suns +4.5 versus the Kings. I'm going to take Sixers +5. I'm going to tail you on Wizards -7. And I'm also going to take Grizzlies -12.5 facing the Houston Rockets. So, Jim, I'll let you go first. Let's talk about this Wizards game. Why do you first? Let's do the first quarter cap. You like the Wizards first quarter over combined. What do you like about that one? Give me the numbers on why that first quarter one checks out.
Yeah, this is maybe my favorite play of the three of the whole day. So this is the top two teams in the whole league this season to the over in the first quarter. The Wizards are absolutely insane in the first quarter. They are 49-24, a 67% to the over in the first quarter this season. So that's, you're playing teams that do score a lot in the first and that don't. And tomorrow they have the Spurs, who are the second best team to the over this season in the NBA. The Spurs are 43-29-1 to the over. Again, I think we've talked about this a bit in the past. You can get a little messy with these trends if you aren't pairing at the extremes, but when it's first versus second, they're both returning, almost 20% ROI. There's clearly a pattern that the books don't go to the extremes as much in setting these individual quarter lines. So I really like the over on that first quarter in Wizards Spurs tomorrow.
Nice, I like it. I can't. You've been spot on with these, so I can't really argue back on it. Wizards, I have a hard time telling like where they're at. I don't really know how to predict them night to night, given both their effort level and just like general approach. Like I don't know what really to expect here. They're down some guys, but I do think that you're probably right that there's a likelihood for this to go the other way. You do like the Wizards -7 in this game. Why do you like the Wizards -7 for the full game?
Yeah, the Wizards this year are a team that I stay away from most of the time because I'm with you. They are a little hard to figure out. It seems like they have guys in a lineup. It's hard to figure out how much those guys being in and out of the lineup even matters. But one thing that they consistently have done is they don't really play with their food against bad teams. If you go through their schedule and you highlight wins, so they're 2-9 in their last 11. So they're definitely sliding. The 2 wins though, the Pistons, and they took care of business both times. So and this goes beyond just those past 11 games. If you kind of go through their schedule this season, whenever they have like the dregs of the league, they defeat them, and they usually do it with a decent margin. The first time they played the Spurs was in San Antonio. They won by 21. They are one of those teams that the reason they're hanging around the playoff picture at all is because they take care of business against the bad teams. And San Antonio, they had that homestand about a week ago where they were looking kind of good, a little frisky for a minute. They were covering a few. They were even getting some outright wins. Their last 2 losses, though, now that they've gone on the road, 35 and 36. I think that's a lot more of what's to be expected from the Spurs. This number came out 6.5. It's already 7. Hopefully, when you're listening, it's still right around 7. There's not too much overnight action, but I'm going to be playing that Wizards -7 for sure.
Zach Collins is questionable. Devontae Graham is probable. Keldon Johnson's probable. Trey Jones is probable. Romeo Langford's out. Doug McDermott's probable. Sohan is out. Devin Vassell's questionable. Like, the Spurs are not being subtle here. Like, it's pretty obvious what they're doing here. So I'm going to tell you and take the -7. Let's roll over to this other one that I'm much more concerned about. You're taking the Thunder +5.5 versus the Lakers. Give me the cap.
Yeah, so the Thunder consistently this season, and I put it in the app today because I played them against the other LA team today. The market just isn't respecting the Thunder as much as they should. The Thunder, by far the best team against the spread this season. They're 45, 26, and 1 against the spread straight up, which is kind of wild. It's usually pretty hard for the market to be that far off on a team consistently throughout the whole season, but just every game it seems like they're a point or two off of where they should be. And I see it this way again against the Lakers. It is the second half of a back-to-back, but it's in LA, not much travel. I looked at the Thunder on these like 0-day rest games. They cover at about 500. With or without Shea, it's about 500. So I wouldn't, obviously Shea being there matters for the cap. So keep an eye on that as news comes out after they play the Clippers tonight. But they're +4 against the Clippers today, and I think they were either tied or down 1.5. We'll see how that second half plays out. But these Lakers, I do not have as a better team than the Thunder, especially without LeBron. With LeBron, I almost have it even close. Obviously, the ceiling's higher on that Lakers team, but this Thunder team is really good. They're really young. They're kind of hard to cap because like we don't know a lot of these guys. I think Joe was saying that on the pod the other day, but they get it done. The coaching is great. Shea is amazing, and they're just a cover machine this year. So until they prove me otherwise, I'm gonna keep riding them here, even on the second half of back-to-back.
Yeah, we were all over that Thunder versus Clippers game, which was good because I whiffed on my other 2 picks. I'm back on Wednesday. Didn't take them tonight just because I don't like it in the second matchup. Whenever you're facing the same team twice in a week. Especially in the same building. I don't like picking them in the second game. This one, my only reservation here is that, so OKC, one of their big advantages is that they play harder and smarter than just about everybody else. That's been their big edge. It's one of the reasons why they're the best team against the spread in the last 2 seasons. However, when you're on a back-to-back, some of that advantage dissipates. There's no travel here, so I don't think this is a bad pick. Here's the numbers. When the Thunder are on an away game on a back-to-back, this season they're 4-3-1 against the spread at 57%, which is good. They're 5-5 overall on the second night of a back-to-back. So when we talk about like the back-to-backs here, we see mostly just like a market drop from the usual Thunder performance. Like we usually have this big cushion in terms of what the spread says versus what the line should actually be. And that's why they kill the spread almost every single time. The rest factor, I think, with OKC matters more than it does with almost any other team, because like they got to beat you with smarts and they got to be locked in and focused. The other thing, this is an LA nightlife game. Like they are currently up 2 on the Clippers in the third quarter. If they win this game, they're probably going out to celebrate. I don't like a bunch of young guys in LA with another game tomorrow. So I'm going to stay away from it. I will say that my numbers have this. That's the other thing here is my numbers don't make this enough to get there. I would say it's Thunder or nothing. I'm definitely not betting LA, but it's 4.5. I have it 2. So like, I think the Lakers should be favored by 2, which is less than like a full mark for home court advantage. That makes sense. It basically says on a neutral court, the Thunder are better, which I agree with. This isn't neutral court. It's a back-to-back. I'm going to go ahead and stay away from it, but I don't mind you taking the Thunder. They've been trustworthy, and the Lakers are always kind of overrated in the market. One problem I do think is that this is on that crucial 4-point line, 4.5, right? Where even if we're right and like the Thunder are in this game, free throws could wind up just nudging this over. Like the Thunder foul down 3 and 2 free throws and it hits you with the hook. So if this gets tomorrow and it gets to be 6, I'm going to have to bet it. Like at 6, I will have to bet this, but that's going to have to be the number for me to get in on OKC. As for me, I'm going to go ahead and open with the Grizzlies minus 12.5 versus the Rockets. This is based off of a trend that I followed throughout the year, and I really like it, and I'm going to continue to hit it. This is, okay, you played a team twice in 3 days. The last one was at home, and you were favored, and you won, and this one's at home, and you're favored. So this is like pretty simple. You're that 2-game set versus an inferior opponent. You did win straight up the last one. The Grizzlies did not cover versus the Rockets in Ja's first game back the other night. In those games this season, teams are 13-3 straight up, 10-5-1 at 67% against the spread, and that's even with an average line of 7. So we have like a nice set of games here where this has happened. And if you want to go back further, if you take this out of 2022 and we go back to every time that this has occurred since 2003, we still get to 142, 127 and 2 for 53%. Most of those were like randos back in the day. And so I like to try and get a little bit closer if we're going to talk about this. Let's do since 2019-20, right? The last 4 seasons. 50, 35 and 2, 59%. So again, teams that are at home were played the same opponent 2 days ago, beat them, were favored, and are favored again. We're sitting at 59% since 2019, 2020. So Memphis, Ja's first game back, it was awkward. It was weird. The Rockets have played a little bit better. The Rockets will be in Memphis for 3 days, a lot of fried food. I will count on the Grizzlies to take care of business, minus 12.5. It's a lot of wood delay. I like getting the Grizzlies at home versus these bad teams. I think it's a good spot for them, especially now that they got Ja back.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I love that trend you came up with there, especially zooming to around, last 3 or 4 years there, where this has been more of a schedule occurrence. So, teams are starting to kind of, learn how to handle these. Yeah, but it really, for me, it comes down to Grizzlies at home, bad team. Earlier in this, we were talking about the Wizards taking care of business. The Grizzlies are a team that are not afraid to blow out a crummy team at home, and really, get their bench some minutes, and their bench is good enough that doesn't usually lead to a backdoor. So yeah, I'm with you on this one.
All right. Elsewhere. So the Philadelphia 76ers, one of the best teams in the association, are 5-point dog tomorrow versus the Golden State Warriors. Joel Embiid and James Harden are both questionable for this game. I'm going to list this as a best bet if Embiid plays. I don't need Harden. I just need Joel. So as long as Embiid plays, I like the Sixers there. I will wait to make sure that he's playing. So this is like a conditional best bet, which, sorry, there's no way for me to do this otherwise. If you want to say, this might be one of those where the line is split, right? Where it's 5 because they think they don't know if Joel and Harden are going to play. If both of them are out, it goes to 9. If one of them plays, it goes to 6.5. And if both of them play, it might move back to like 2 or 1, right? I will still like it at whatever number I get, regardless of where I get it. As long as the Sixers are getting points, I will play it. I will play it anywhere to pick them. I don't think that Embiid and Harden I don't think that this is a Embiid and Harden are out. That wouldn't make any sense for in Golden State, right? Golden State's nails at home. So this has to be like a halfway point, or it has to be like kind of leaning towards them not playing or one of them not playing. So again, at 5, if you hear that Embiid's playing, I'm definitely betting it at 5 if it stays there. If I'm wrong and they're like, yeah, we think Embiid plays and Harden doesn't, and that's what this line is, I'm absolutely playing the 5. If this moves to 3, I will play it at 3 or 2. 1, I'm probably going to be like, maybe a half unit on the money line and just go that route. To be quite honest, this is just like the Sixers are just like a much better team. Like I still have this. The Warriors have such an incredible home court advantage. So with average, if I do an average home court, I have this still as the Sixers -1 full strength. That's how wide the gap is between the Sixers and the Warriors, but you have to account for the Warriors home court. So with home court, it moves all the way to, I have the Sixers -3, 3.5. I will still probably like this if it gets under 3, just based off of the fact that I think that this is a real opportunity for Embiid to put another nail in what is already a pretty closed MVP coffin for him. So I will lean very heavily toward, like, part of this is the Warriors are unbeatable at home and they win and they can't win on the road. They just won 2 on the road. They're not like you still have to be a certain level of team to have the road record that they do. And so I will still lean a little bit toward, especially with the matchups, I'll lean towards the Sixers here as long as Embiid plays tomorrow.
Yeah, this isn't a disagree for me. It's just as much of a stay away. There's just so many factors at play. The Warriors are one of the weirder teams to bet before you even get into injury stuff. The Sixers, with their two main pieces being questionable, I think there is, advantages. You have to be watching this like a hawk. I think you're gonna have to be on top of that news and really try and catch stuff. I know you like it all the way to like anything with plus points. I'd probably play it to if Embiid's in there, I'm with you. I'm probably looking to the Philly side, but I'd really want to catch it kind of quick before the full line move. So for me, this is too many moving pieces, especially at this moment to give any sort of a cap for it.
And finally, I'm going to take the Suns plus 4.5 here versus the Kings. I respect the beam for sure, and I think the Suns have been, rough without KD. It makes a lot of sense, right? He's not going to be back till the end of the month here, probably 5-6 days. That said, like I still have this only Kings minus 3.5, so I get a point here. I'll probably just put a half unit on it. Mostly this is a matter of I do think that the Suns in games that they will get up for will probably execute at a higher level. I think they'll probably be mad after that Lakers game. I kind of trust them in the spot versus a Kings team that I think is facing a lot of expectation now. I do like the Suns here plus 4.5 versus the Kings.
Yeah, to me, this would be either I would look at Suns money line or I might look to Kings spread. This is one of those weird games where I can see a game script that kind of like splits the two options. I think the Kings are going to be looking at this as a potential statement game. And I could see them coming out fast, putting their feet on the throat and just kind of running away with it. But if it's a close game, I do think it would kind of tend to favor Phoenix, even though Sacramento's been so good in the clutch this season. This is my game write up for tomorrow. I got to dig in the numbers a little bit more still. But for me, I might look at a Phoenix money line if I were on that side of things too.
I think you convinced me. I'm just going to play this. I'm just going to play the Suns money line. That's all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the Suns money line. You convinced me.
Nice.
That's a better approach. So we're both on Wizards minus 7. Jim talked me into that one. I'm on Suns money line. Jim's on on Wizards Spurs first quarter over. He's on OKC plus 5.5 versus the Lake Show. I like the Grizzlies minus 12.5 versus the Rockets, and I'm taking the Sixers plus 5 if Embiid plays versus the Warriors. I'll take that number all the way down to. I will say that like I have this 3.5. I'll take it down to 3. 3 is the lowest point that I will take it. If it drops immediately to 2, if Embiid and Harden are in, then I'm not going to play it. That's going to wrap it up for Best Bets for a Friday. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to download the Action Network app. My thanks to David Payne, our producer. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you guys again on Monday for our weekend recap with Albert Wynn, the analytics capper. Till then, let's get buckets.